On September 19th, 2022, London became the center of the world. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, was held on an unprecedented scale. The image of millions of people lining up for hours to pay their respects to her, along with the presence of hundreds of international leaders, turned this event into a historic milestone. But besides the solemnity, there was also a detail that made global public opinion talk. The total cost was up to £162 million, equivalent to more than 200 million US dollars. This is considered the most expensive funeral Britain has ever witnessed. On September 8th, 2022, the world was shocked when Buckingham Palace announced the sad news. Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, had passed away at Balmoral Castle, Scotland, at the age of 96. This news was quickly reported by global media and immediately caused a stir. For the British people, it was not just the passing of a head of state, but the end of an era. Balmoral Castle, where she took her last breath, is not a public place, but the Queen's favorite resort, located in the peaceful mountains of Scotland. The death took place here, making the funeral process even more complicated and special. The campaign called Operation London Bridge was immediately activated, a plan built decades ago to prepare for this special day. The Queen's passing also brought along a series of symbolic rituals and long-standing traditions. Flags were flown at half-mast everywhere. Entertainment and recreational activities were canceled or postponed. The whole country was silent. Solemn speeches from the Prime Minister and world leaders were broadcast one after another, opening a period of national mourning unprecedented in modern history. As soon as the sad news was announced, Britain officially entered 10 days of national mourning. During this period, everything seemed to stop. The center of the event was none other than Westminster Hall, the political and ceremonial heart of Britain. This is where the Queen's coffin was placed so that people could come and pay their respects. The sight of millions of people lining up in silence, lining up for kilometers through the streets of London to see the coffin for a few short seconds, was deeply moving. Some people waited up to 24 hours in the cold rain, just to bow their heads to say goodbye to the Queen. This shows that the deep affection that the people have for her is not only respect for a monarch, but also a mourning for a symbol of stability in a turbulent world. Westminster Hall is open 24/7, with thousands of service staff, security, and medical support staff on duty. Volunteers are mobilized to the maximum to help coordinate the huge flow of people. This is no longer a normal funeral, but a national ceremony organized with meticulous preparation, precise down to the smallest detail. Something unprecedented happened. Nearly 500 heads of state, royal family members, and leaders of international organizations flew to London to attend the funeral. The guest list ranges from U.S. President Joe Biden, Japanese Emperor Naruhito, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, to French President Emmanuel Macron, President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen. All are present at Westminster Abbey on September 19, 2022. This is a rare occasion since World War II that an event has gathered so many world leaders, and not for political talks, but for condolences. This not only reflects the personal prestige of Queen Elizabeth II, but also shows the global position of Britain under her reign. £162 million, a figure that shocked the world. This is not only the cost of organizing Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, but also the largest expenditure in British history for a state funeral. In fact, this amount is equivalent to more than 200 million US dollars, far exceeding all old standards ever set for royal funerals. One of the main reasons for the huge funeral costs is security. London, during the 10 days of national mourning, almost turned into an impregnable fortress. More than 10,000 police officers were mobilized, along with special counterterrorism units, snipers, surveillance aircraft, and intelligence forces on duty 24/7. With hundreds of heads of state and world leaders present at the same place, something that has not happened since World War II, Britain was forced to raise security to the highest level. The streets around Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace were blocked. Access control systems were set up densely with security scanners, sniffer dogs, and advanced surveillance technology. Not only security for politicians, but also ensuring order for millions of people pouring into London was a big challenge. Hundreds of medical incidents were reported during the procession, from fainting to exhaustion to low blood pressure caused by long queues. Each incident required an immediate response from the rescue and medical teams, adding to the cost of running the event. No one can forget the image of the military procession carrying the Queen's coffin through the streets of central London. More than 6,000 soldiers from the Army, Navy, Air Force, and other armed forces were mobilized to perform the solemn and precise rituals down to every step. The procession stretches for miles and includes cavalry units, military bands, and honor guards. Hundreds of specially trained horses, musical instruments, and traditional costumes are used in unison. Every detail of the ceremony is symbolic, representing centuries of royal tradition. To prepare for this ceremony, large-scale rehearsals are held for weeks in advance. The logistics team must prepare everything from accommodation, uniforms, training, to coordinating the parade routes. Every step of the coffin's movement, from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey, then back to Windsor, is carefully calculated to ensure both protocol and safety. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II is not only a royal ceremony, but also a huge public event. It is estimated that during the 10 days of national mourning, more than 1 million people flock to London to pay their respects, watch the ceremonies, or simply be present at that historic moment. To serve such a huge number of people, the capital's public service system had to operate at full capacity, from public transport to health, rescue, security, and even environmental sanitation. All were increased many times. The London Underground system operated non-stop. Many bus routes adjusted schedules to transport people and tourists more conveniently. In crowded areas such as Westminster, Hyde Park, or near Windsor Castle, mobile first aid stations, ambulances, and teams of doctors and nurses were always on duty. Many temporary public toilets were even installed. Free drinking water was handed out to waiting people, and volunteers were always present to guide and support people from all over the world. Many hotels and restaurants in London also recorded record-high bookings for rooms and tables, leading to the mobilization of additional staff. The British government spent tens of millions of pounds on this public service alone. Although somewhat obscured compared to the official ceremonies, this is the foundation for the funeral to run smoothly and orderly. In a context where incidents can occur at any time, the effective operation of public services has demonstrated the UK's impressive organizational capacity. One of the most expensive but extremely important aspects of funerals is the media. It is no coincidence that more than 200 countries and territories broadcast the event live. An estimated 4 billion people worldwide watch the funeral on screen, making it one of the most watched television programs of all time. To achieve that, the BBC, the UK national television station, and a series of major news agencies such as CNN, NHK, France 24, Al Jazeera, etc., have mobilized thousands of reporters, technicians, and editors to work continuously day and night. Television cameras are placed in hundreds of locations, including drones, 360-degree livestream systems, and mobile broadcasting vehicles. Not only television, digital platforms are also exploited to the fullest. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter all have live broadcast streams, and minute-by-minute articles are posted on major newspapers. The government media team also works continuously to update information, control fake news, and ensure that messages are conveyed consistently. The cost of media includes not only personnel and equipment, but also distribution rights, broadcasting copyrights, language translation services, and post-production costs. However, its effectiveness is undeniable. The images from the funeral have spread the message of solemnity, tradition, and soft power of the UK around the world. 2022 is not an easy time for the British people. After the COVID-19 pandemic, the UK continues to face a series of serious economic problems: soaring energy prices, escalating living costs, a depreciating pound, and inflation reaching a 40-year high. Many families have to choose between heating and eating well, a harsh choice that the British never thought of before. In that context, the government spending more than 200 million USD to organize a funeral, even for the most respected queen, has caused a lot of anger. On social networks, many people expressed dissatisfaction, saying that the budget should be used to support people, reducing the burden of skyrocketing electricity, gas, and food bills. Despite the criticism, many Britons have expressed their full support for the scale of the funeral. They believe that Queen Elizabeth II deserves a grand send-off, not only for her 70 years of service, but also for her image of stability, tradition, and national identity. One of the unspoken but extremely important goals of the funeral is to maintain support for the monarchy. In recent years, anti-monarchy and abolition movements have been on the rise, especially in Commonwealth countries such as Jamaica, Barbados, Canada, and Australia. By holding a grand, symbolic, and traditional funeral, the UK sent a strong message both domestically and internationally. The monarchy is still valuable, an indispensable part of national identity, and a spiritual support for millions of people. Share your thoughts in the comments section, and if you want to continue exploring little-known behind-the-scenes stories about the British royal family, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join the channel in the next articles.